Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn with Aprajita. If you are struggling with the Tiger King and don't know what kind of questions can be asked in your exam, then stay with me till the end. Today, I'll discuss 5 important types of questions: short, long, competency based, hot questions, and CCT, along with how to answer them perfectly. Let's get started. Let's start today's session with short questions. For this question in the introduction, write the title Tiger King was given because of his obsession with killing tigers. And in the explanation, write a prophecy predicted his death due to a tiger, so he decided to kill 100 tigers to prove fate wrong. And in the conclusion, add this: ironically, he was ultimately killed by a toy tiger. He thought he was the king of tigers, but fate had other ideas. And for this question, start with the prophecy. At the time of his birth, astrologers predicted that the king would be killed by a tiger. And his reaction was the king laughed at the prophecy but later took it seriously. And the ironic ending you can add up: he killed 99 tigers, yet a wooden toy tiger led to his death. Destiny can be dodged, no matter how hard you try. And for this question, write the reason for marriage. The Maharaja had killed all the tigers in his kingdom. Then his strategic move to complete his goal of killing 100 tigers, he married a princess from a state with many tigers. And in the conclusion, add his marriage was not about love but about increasing his tiger count. For him, happily ever after meant hunting more tigers. For this question, start with the superstition driven decision, which is he feared that if others hunted tigers, there wouldn't be enough for him to kill. Then bring about the strict enforcement. Anyone caught hunting a tiger would lose their property and job. Then the irony. Despite all his efforts, a mere toy tiger became his doom. When fear drives decisions, logic files out of the window. You know it. Then the next question, start with irony of fate, that he killed 99 real tigers but missed one. Then bring the toy tigers concept. A small splinter from a wooden toy tiger caused an infection. Then the prophecy fulfilled. A tiger did kill him, but just not the way he expected. He won against real tigers but lost to a wooden one. That's destiny's way of saying gotcha. Now let's tackle competency based questions. These questions test your ability to analyze situations, apply concepts, and think critically beyond the story. They often involve real life connections, problem solving, or evaluating decisions. Here are 5 important competency based questions from the Tiger King and how to answer them effectively. For this question in the introduction, you can write a true ruler prioritizes the well-being of his people, not personal goals. And in the body, you can add up better governance. He could have improved healthcare, education, and economic. Then public trust. His people would respect him for his wisdom, not fear his tyranny. Then sustainable conservation. Instead of wiping out tigers, he could have preserved wildlife. Then in the conclusion, you can write his downfall shows that personal obsessions ruin leadership. A king's job is to rule wisely, not play Call of Duty with tigers. For this question in the introduction, you may write journalism highlights truth and holds leaders accountable. Then in the body, unbiased reporting. As a journalist, I would expose his reckless tiger hunting. Then the next point, public awareness. I would question his laws, misuse of power, and his real contributions. Then you can add up a satirical tone. Headlines like King fears toy tiger more than real ones would grab attention. And in the conclusion, you can write the press play a key role in preventing absolute power from going unchecked. The king wins against 99 tigers but loses to a wooden one. For this question, you may start with the introduction, as history is filled with tigers who made poor decisions due to arrogance. In the body, start with an example. The first one, some rulers ignored their people's needs, leading to revolutions. The second example, leaders who prioritize personal agendas over governance face downfall. Then compare both. Like the Tiger King, real leaders also face consequences for bad decisions. And in the conclusion, you may say, true leadership means making wise choices, not chasing personal obsessions. For this question in the introduction, you may start with Today, wildlife conservation is crucial for maintaining ecological balance. And in the body, start with the expert advice. A conservationist would educate the king about saving tigers. Then the second point, alternative solutions. He could create tiger reserves instead of hunting them. And the third one, better legacy. His kingdom would be famous for wildlife protection, not destruction. And in the conclusion, you may start with writing sustainable choices lead to long term benefits. Maybe instead of the Tiger King, we would have remembered him as the Savior King. In this question, you may introduce the answer with ignoring wise advice often leads to failure. And in the body, the king's mistake. He dismissed the astrologer's prophecy thinking he was invincible. Real life lesson. Even in daily life, ignoring good advice can lead to problems. Value of humility. Listening and adapting makes a person wiser. And in the conclusion, you may add up. Overconfidence blinds us. Wisdom comes from being open to learning. If only the king listened, he would be still ruling instead of resting in peace. Now that we have tackled competency-based questions, let's level up with high-order thinking questions. These require deep analysis, evaluation, and reasoning beyond the obvious. You will need to think critically and connect the story to broader concepts. Let's dive into 5 must-know hot questions from the Tiger King. For this question, you may write in the introduction, humans often believe they can control every aspect of life just like the Tiger King, and in the body, false sense of power. He thought killing tigers would save him, but fate found another way. Real life connection. Many people make extreme efforts to avoid problems but end up facing them differently. Then add up a lesson. While hard work influences outcomes, some things remain unpredictable. And in the conclusion, you may write, true wisdom lies in accepting life's uncertainties. For this question, in the introduction, you may begin with, a ruler's responsibility is to serve the people, not personal interest. And in the body, begin with misuse of power. He wasted resources on hunting rather than governance. Then, ethical failure. Killing tigers for personal gain harmed the environment. Idle leadership. A responsible leader thinks beyond ego and makes decisions for the greater cause. And in the conclusion, you may write, leadership is about responsibility, not selfish ambitions. A real king protects, not destroys. For this question, in the introduction, begin with superstition clouded the king's judgment, leading to poor decisions. In the body, begin with a logical approach. Instead of blinding following the prophecy, he could have tested its validity, then add alternative actions. He could have focused on tiger conservation instead of hunting them. Then write the outcome. His logical thinking might have saved him from his foolish downfall. Then in the conclusion, superstition leads to fear, but logic leads to wisdom. Who knew the real tiger was just a wooden all along? Then for this question, begin with the introduction. The Tiger King's greed for personal safety led to the destruction of tigers. This reflects real-world environmental problems. In the body, begin with deforestation and wildlife loss. Like the Tiger King, humans exploit nature for selfish reasons. Then the second point, climate change consequences. Ignoring nature's balance leads to disasters. Then sustainable solutions. Unlike the king, modern leaders must prioritize conservation. In the conclusion, add, greed destroys nature, but responsibility can save it. If only the Tiger King knew protecting nature protects us all. In this question, begin with the introduction. Bravery isn't about killing enemies, it's about facing truth. In the body, start with fear-driven actions. His tiger hunting was based on fear, not courage. Then, cowardly decisions. He manipulated people and made selfish laws to hide his weaknesses. Then the third point, true bravery. A real leader would accept fate and make wise choices. And in the conclusion, power doesn't equal bravery, wisdom does. Maybe the tigers weren't his biggest enemies, his own fear was. These hot questions push you to think beyond the textbook. Now let's move to CCT questions, where you will need to apply knowledge in new ways. Let's go. These questions test how well you can apply ideas in new ways, solve problems, and think out of the box. Be ready to imagine, evaluate, and create unique answers. In this question, in the introduction, begin with Great King, I stand before you as the last of my kind. And in the body, begin with importance of tigers. Without us, the forest dies, and so does your kingdom. And the second point, alternatives. Instead of hunting, you could build reserves and be remembered as the protector king. Then an emotional appeal. Think of your own future. Does a wooden tiger deserve to be your downfall? And in the conclusion, a wise king rules with wisdom, not fear. Imagine if animals could talk, would the king still hunt them? Then in the second question, begin with the introduction. Your Majesty, fate cannot be rewritten with wisdom. Then the body, predicting wisely. Instead of saying you will die because of a tiger, say you will live if you protect tigers. Guiding him differently. Encourage him to create tiger sanctuaries instead of hunting them. Then the power of belief. He feared prophecies. Use that fear to inspire positive change. And in the conclusion, a true king doesn't fight destiny, he reshapes it. Smart astrologers don't just predict, they persuade. For this question, right in the introduction, a strong law could have changed history. Then in the body, law proposal, the Royal Tiger Protection Act, hunting is banned and conservation is rewarded. Then in the implementation of this, the king must invest in tiger reserves and those harming tigers will face penalties. Then the impact, the kingdom prospers and the king avoids his fate. And in the conclusion, you may write, laws shape societies. A wise law could have shaped a better society and a better future if only the king had signed a no hunting. And that wraps up our deep dive into the Tiger King with all types of questions. Short, long, hot, CCT. Hope this helped you think beyond the textbook and prepare smartly for your exams. Remember, children, that you have to elaborate the points that I have given today. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel for more such exam-focused content. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, happy studying, children.